Hello everyone, as I try to get settled here. Welcome to our breaking news coverage. Give me a second while I'm just going to try to tweet this out that we are covering this right now. So bear with me for a second. Welcome. We are doing some breaking news coverage right now. Welcome to our breaking news coverage. Give me 2 seconds. I am going to try, if I can, to let people know by Twitter that we are doing this as well. So bear with me for 2 seconds here. Here we go. We are covering breaking news. General Michael Flynn has resigned. I am just tweeting out to the rest of people on right side so they know that we're doing this right now. There's that. Okay, now I'm going to log into my Twitter so I can help you follow what's going on here. Bear with me for one more second. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we are here. General Michael Flynn, I don't know if you've heard this. I just heard it myself, so I came on live. As you can see, I'm not even at the office. This is Steve Lookner, by the way. I'm at home, but I wanted to come on and give you this breaking news. Just recently, just hit the Twitter, hit the CNN, hit everything. National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn has resigned tonight. I am that's the news I have. I didn't even do this. I didn't even go and do the 20 minutes of research and then come on. I wanted you to get the news first. So, and I also want to hear your comments on this. So I'm going to be covering it and learning about it as you are. I got my TV on here, but it's on mute. And I got my Twitter here. So I'm going to try to get you some news, some updates as fast as I can about the details of this. So again, breaking news, General Michael Flynn has resigned. And he's the National Security Advisor, which is the head of the National Security Council. And the National Security Council is basically the body the president uses. It's a mandated body. It's a law that they have to have this body. And it's the chief body the president uses to decide on national security issues. So like the Secretary of Defense is there, Director of the CIA is there, but a big person there is National Security Advisor. He is basically the head of the National Security Council. And that was General Michael Flynn until tonight, and he resigned. Why did he resign? Well, I'm going to go online and do the specifics in a moment, but just to recap what happened the last couple days. So basically, if you weren't following, what happened is this. It was revealed, there are apparently intelligence transcripts which prove this, that General Michael Flynn, after President Trump was elected, but before President Trump took office, had conversations with, I believe it was more than one conversation, but at least one conversation with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. And in these conversations, they discussed American sanctions on Russia. And what I had read is that the transcript showed that these were discussed, which is a big problem because I believe that this is not allowed legally. That is, this is considered. There's a law against citizens conducting foreign policy, and that would fall under this probably. So it's a problem that he was discussing the sanctions with the Russian ambassador before President Trump actually took office. And another issue is that from what I heard, he might have said something like, "Hey, we won't, go that hard on the sanctions when we're in office, or we'll withdraw the sanctions, or we'll be easier on the sanctions when President Trump gets in office." And a problem with that, if that happened, aside from the fact that it breaks the law of a citizen conducting foreign policy, a problem with that would be is you don't want to let another country know what's coming, because the sanctions, in theory, when the Obama administration put sanctions on Russia, they want it to affect their behavior. But if Russia knows the sanctions are going to be less in like a month or two when President Trump takes office, they might not be affected by the sanctions. That's at least the reasoning here as to why it was a bad thing in itself for General Flynn to talk to the Russian ambassador and talk about sanctions before President Trump had assumed office. But another problem, and this is where we get into why did he resign? Another problem is that General Flynn, from the reports we had heard on the news, did not tell the administration this. I believe he told the administration he had some contact with the Russian ambassador, but specifically he told Mike Pence was it that they didn't talk, or was it he either told Mike Pence that they didn't talk at all, or that they didn't talk about sanctions? I'm going to look it up real quick and see if I can find it here. If I do a little Google search, because I want to get that information right for you. But basically, what happened is here we go. I'm going to an article just so I get you the exact right information. Blah 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 blah. Yes. So. What General Flynn told Vice President to be Mike Pence was, hey, we never, actually, and it was last month, so it was, I believe it might have been even when Mike Pence was vice president. But he told Mike Pence, look, I talked to the ambassador, but we never talked about sanctions. Then Mike Pence went out publicly and defended General Flynn. So reports today said that Mike Pence was very upset with General Flynn because he had told him, hey, I didn't talk about sanctions with the Russian ambassador. And Mike Flynn goes out in public and defends General Flynn. And then it comes out that he has talked about sanctions with the Russian ambassador. So this raises a couple of issues here, and we need to find out why he resigned exactly. So one possibility why he resigned is basically that Mike Pence and Donald Trump, or mainly Mike Pence, or mainly Donald Trump, with some Mike Pence thrown in, some combination of them was just really angry at him for not revealing that he had talked about the sanctions. Maybe it's possible. So under this scenario, Pence, by the way, I'm assuming Flynn resigned. I'm assuming he didn't do this of free choice. I'm just assuming. I might be wrong about this. Maybe Flynn just, suddenly said to himself tonight, hey, I'm going to resign. I'm guessing he was forced out, and he said he's resigning because he was told he was going to get fired if he didn't resign. But this question is why. So let's assume he was forced out. Why would he be forced out? Now, one scenario is that it's not the talking to the ambassador about sanctions that got him forced out. It's the not being honest about that to Trump and Pence. And maybe they were just mad about that. So that's one possibility, is that the real problem for Trump and Pence was the not being forthright with them about what he talked to the Russian ambassador about. The other possibility is that once it became public that Flynn even had this conversation with the Russian ambassador, which sounds like it might be illegal because it breaks this law of conducting foreign policy as a citizen. A possibility is that once that became public, either President Trump was like angry about that and basically said he got to go, or President Trump was just like, well, I don't need this PR headache right now. It's going to just if I let this person stay around, it'll get in the way of other things I want to do. So that could have happened too. So one of the big questions out there right now is, why did he resign exactly? And even if we assume he was forced out, what is it about what he did that made him get forced out? And also, like, for example, was Mike Pence like a main force behind this, or was Mike Pence like, hey, okay, he can stay if it's up to me, and then President Trump was like, no, that guy's got to go. So I don't know exactly, and we don't know exactly why he did this and why he resigned, but I assume in the coming hours and coming days we will find this out. I'm just switching the lighting here to get a little more light on me. Sorry about the lighting. I'm not in a TV studio. I think you can tell I'm in my apartment, so doing the best I can. So again, we're covering the breaking news here. This just came out recently, not that long ago tonight, that the National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, resigned tonight. And we can safely guess it has something to do with the fact that these transcripts came out. And just so you know, you might say, wait, so people are saying that General Mike Flynn talked to the Russian ambassador about sanctions, but how do they know? Supposedly, I've seen numerous sources say this. Supposedly, there are certain intelligence officials in our intelligence agencies that routinely record conversations that our diplomats have. Now, whether General Flynn should have known this, I don't know, but they have transcripts of his conversation. So supposedly all of this is in the transcripts, that he talked to the Russian ambassador and that they talked about sanctions. So that's a problem. And there was another problem, which is that General Michael Flynn didn't initially tell Mike Pence this, and so Mike Pence got out there last month and defended Michael Flynn and said, hey, he never talked to the Russians about sanctions. And supposedly Mike Pence was very angry about that. So by the way, as we're covering this breaking news tonight, one thing, if you haven't been with us before for breaking news, one thing we love to do is get your feedback. But, this isn't just me talking about the news. This is you giving your feedback and hearing what you think. So as we're doing this broadcast, if you want to reach me and give a comment or ask a question, I'm happy to share your comments out there. The way to do this, there's two ways to do this. One way is go to my Twitter. My Twitter is @Lookner. That's @LOOKNER. If you go to my Twitter and you direct message me on Twitter, direct message me at @Lookner, @LOOKNER. And if I get your comment, I'm happy to read it on the air as long as it's clean. And so that's one way to reach me. Another way to reach me is email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I'm toying with the idea of getting another light. Do you think I should get another light? Am I too dark? I can go grab another light. It's about 3 seconds away. So I'm looking for your comments right now to see if you'd like me to do this. I know it takes a second. So viewers, would you like me to light myself up a little bit more? I'm asking you. In the chat room. Yes, do it. Okay, I'm going to be back in 7 seconds. I am not going away. I'm getting another light. I'm getting a light right now to light myself up. Sorry about that. Okay, a light is coming right now. We are getting more light here. I think. 1 second. 1 second. I got it. There's more light. Let's see if this works. I am back. I am back. Okay, and I think we're better lit now. You can see me. We have light. Thank you for waiting and being patient. I'm sorry if you were confused by that. Okay, we are covering, again, breaking news tonight. National Security Advisor. This is a cabinet position, head of the National Security Council, the main advisor for the president on national security issues. Michael Flynn resigned tonight. This just came out, a few minutes ago. And we're covering this here at Right Side. And I'm fixing this light a little bit more here. We're covering this here at Right Side for you. And if you want to send comments, as I just said, the two ways to do that. Happy to read your comments on the air. Would love to hear what you're thinking about this story tonight, questions you might have in your comments. Go to Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. That's my Twitter. Direct message me or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I want to hear what you have to say about this. We don't just say the news at you. We try to have a conversation here. So part of this whole breaking news coverage thing here at Right Side is hearing what you think. So let me open up, by the way, my Twitter here. Sorry, so I can get your messages as you send them in. Okay, so I'm going to start reading some comments. Thank you for sending them in. We have here, Donna Kamali says, Flynn is discussing deals regarding sanctions without the president's knowledge. You can't do that. So Donna Kamali sounds like she thinks that it's cool that Flynn is resigning, or thinks she's okay with that. Let's see. Maggie Jiwoo, this is what Maggie Jiwoo says. Remember, it took a resignation that we didn't want to get Kellyanne, so this might be for the best. So that's a very interesting comment from Maggie Jiwoo. Maybe, you might be upset about Flynn resigning if you like Flynn, but maybe somebody else will come in and you'll eventually be happy with that person. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Maggie. We have JB at Just Barbara, and JB at Just Barbara says, this stinks of a sabotage. I'm not sure so perhaps what JB at Just Barbara is thinking, this is an interesting idea. So were these transcripts, there are transcripts that the intelligence community has of General Flynn talking to the Russian ambassador and talking about sanctions. Now, were these transcripts intentionally leaked? Is it possible that there's a world in which these transcripts would have been kept secret? Perhaps did General Flynn, when he had this conversation with the Russian ambassador, did he think like, well, it's protocol. I know there's going to be transcripts of this, but it's protocol to not release them. So a possibility that our viewer JB at Just Barbara raised, I believe JB is saying this, is that perhaps these General Flynn's transcripts were leaked by the intelligence community. There's been rumors that the intelligence community is upset at President Trump for certain things, and there's some tension there. So is it possible that this was an intentional leak of these transcripts, and that's what got General Flynn in trouble and eventually fired? Good question. I don't know. We'll have to see if this comes out. We have some more people coming out. Let's see here. I'm looking for your messages. I see some messages here, so let me get to those. And again, to repeat, we are covering breaking news here. The National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, has resigned tonight. This is only 23 days into the new administration. And I was actually thinking, boy, it's been sort of a quiet day today, given all the news that's been coming out, but not quiet anymore. Let me raise another question here. So General Flynn resigned, boy, it looks about it's like 11:15 p.m. Eastern time. Do you think that they knew he was going to resign today at some point and they kept it till late? And like, you can't do it like at 3 in the morning, because then it's like, well, that's just seen as ridiculous. If you haven't resigned at 3 in the morning, then it seems like you're trying to hide it. So is it possible that this was a way for the administration to have him resign at 11:15 p.m. Eastern time, or whatever it was? Is that a way of getting it like the least news coverage? Because it gets out today, but it's really late, and also by tomorrow it's like yesterday's story. I don't know. I'm just thinking like a PR person now. Just wondering. Okay, let me get to some more of your messages here about this. So let's see here. We have Norway for Trump said, will you go online? That was before. The answer is yes, I am online right now. This is SNG4. SNG4 says, this whole fiasco will be spun into Trump being awful somehow. Flynn was the most loyal to Trump out of anyone, and he still fired him. That's how leaders lead people. I feel even more confident in him as a president now than I even did before. So SNG4 is making this interesting point that, he's assuming that Flynn was really fired even though he resigned, which I don't think is an unreasonable assumption, so I think it's plausible to think that. But SNG4 is saying like, hey, this is the guy who's so loyal to President Trump, and yet he's still willing to let him go. And you might say, as SNG4 says, that makes President Trump different. He's not, it's the same, when he fired the Attorney General, it was the same thing. Like, that was not a good political move in the sense of like, he was going to get, crap for it. But maybe he's not somebody who's blindly loyal to people, and that's how SNG4 is seeing this. So, interesting comment, SNG4. Quality of comments, as usual, quite high tonight. I appreciate it. There are some more comments here that people have. Let me get to them. Thank you for writing in. And let me repeat. So we're covering the breaking news. National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn has resigned tonight. I'm Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting Network's coverage. We are not at the studio because this news happened when I was at home, so I apologize for the non-studio background, doing the best we can here. And so if you want to write in, part of this is covering the news for you. I'm going to give you the latest updates as I get them. But part of this is also hearing what you have to say about this. If you want to write in, either go to @Lookner, that's my Twitter, @LOOKNER. Feel free to follow me if you'd like to hear it whenever I go on for breaking news. But direct message me at @Lookner on Twitter, and I can see your message, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Let's get back to your comments. A few came in. Chris Douglas said, let's see if this is here. Hold on. The question was, what do you think about Keith Kellogg? Keith Kellogg, I'm Wikipediaing it now, is a retired general officer in the Army. So I'm wondering, Chris, are you asking me what do I think about Keith Kellogg as a replacement for General Michael Flynn? I'll be honest with you. We're honest here at Right Side Broadcasting. I don't know who Keith Kellogg is. So if you think he's good, feel free to write me back and tell me why. Let's see. Chubb 5526 says, just watching Right Side, thank you. Is anyone wondering how these leaks are getting out to the media? Who is inside his camp taking them down from the inside? So I believe, Chubb, what you're talking about first thing, there seem to be a lot of leaks from the intelligence community over the last month or so since President Trump took office. There have been leaks, for example, about what went on in supposedly private meetings, that kind of thing. And now you might be suggesting, Chubb, and we had talked about this possibility a little while ago, is where are the transcripts? So remember, Michael Flynn basically is resigning because it came out that he had a conversation with the Russian ambassador about Russian sanctions, which is a no-no in itself, and then also he ended up lying about it to Mike Pence and saying he didn't have this conversation when he actually did. But the initial reason this information came out because there are these transcripts of these calls in the intelligence community. In the intelligence community, they do listen in on certain calls that prominent figures in government give. I don't know if General Flynn knew about that was happening or not, but supposedly there are these transcripts that do show what General Flynn was talking about on this call. And this question is, were these transcripts leaked? Like, did somebody in the intelligence community see this and not like the Trump administration or not like Flynn? Now remember also, Flynn supposedly made some enemies. I'll talk about that in a second. But were these transcripts leaked? Were they supposed to be kept quiet even though, he talked to the Russian ambassador about sanctions? Maybe this kind of stuff happens more often, but the transcripts normally stay under wraps. So were these transcripts intentionally leaked? If they were intentionally leaked, were they intentionally leaked to punish President Trump, or were they intentionally leaked to punish Michael Flynn? Now, relevant here is some background on Michael Flynn, which I want to get the exact background right. But he had a sort of rocky relationship with some people in the military and some people in the intelligence community. And so I'm just checking here. I want to give you the right exact thing here, information. He was a chair of the Military Intelligence Board. And we have here, let's see, I'm not getting this information that I want out of this. But, so my understanding of General Flynn, without giving you the exact, he served as the Director of Intelligence in the United States Central Command from June 2007 to July 2008, as the Director of Intelligence Joint Staff from July 2008 to June 2009. And then, so for several years, he was a very high intelligence figure in the military, but I have heard that he had some rocky relations with some people there in the intelligence community. And now you might argue, you don't know why that is. Was he like a jerk, or was he like a good dude, but people didn't like the way he was forthright? I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know all the information. But my point is this. Given that there was reportedly some friction between him and people in the intelligence community, it seems like a possibility, if this stuff was leaked about him talking to the Russian ambassador, that it was directed at him and not necessarily at President Trump. So I'm guessing there are people in the intelligence community who don't like President Trump. I'm guessing there are people in the intelligence community who don't like General Michael Flynn. So if this was a leak, which it might not have been, we don't know, could have been directed at one of them or both. So, who knows? A lot of stuff to think about here. Breaking news. National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn, has resigned tonight, only 23 days into President Trump's administration. I want to get back to some more of your comments. So if you have comments, go to @Lookner, my Twitter handle, @LOOKNER, and direct message me on Twitter, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Let me read some more comments that you have sent me here. Let's see. Chris Douglas says Keith Kellogg is replacing Michael Flynn. That might be information that I missed in the rush to get on the air. Okay, so thank you. I like you helping me with the journalism here, and if you have links or information I should know, feel free to send it in. So, Keith Kellogg, I have confirmed this online, the president named Keith Kellogg as acting national security advisor. Now, it says acting national security advisor. I don't know if that means that the president named Keith Kellogg as a temporary national security advisor until the next one, until he has a chance to figure out who else he wants in there, or is he just going to stay on as national security advisor? Good question. So thank you for that information. I know nothing about Keith Kellogg personally, so I can't speak to that. But if you'd like to comment, send it in. So Chris Douglas, thank you so much for that. Let's see. Stephen Vitoski says, settle down, you seem a little nervous. You know what it is? I'm not nervous. I just get, when there's breaking news, I get sort of, I don't want to say excited. I get I want to cover the news and get it all out to you, and I'm very interested in seeing what's going on. So I get hyped, but not like, yay, I'm glad Michael Flynn resigned. But and he says, but aside from that, you're doing a great job. Just know that, by the way, Reince Priebus needs to go next. That is what Stephen Vitoski says. Stephen, thank you for your comment. Let's see, we have here some more comments that people have just sent in. Willie Drum says, Alex Jones on InfoWars broke today that the leaker has been identified as Reince Priebus. I have never had a warm, fuzzy feeling about him. So I guess from what Willie Drum is reporting, Willie Drum says Alex Jones said that Reince Priebus was the leaker of this stuff. I have no idea if this is true, but it is interesting that two of you have already said that you don't like Reince Priebus and imply that you want him to go. More comments here people have sent in. Geraldine Champion has just written in, and Geraldine Champion says, I'd like to see Robert David Steele work with President Trump now that Mike Flynn has resigned. So I don't know who Robert David Steele is. I'm going to Google Robert David Steele, so I apologize for not knowing who he is. Robert David Steele is an American activist and former CIA clandestine services case officer. He is known for his promotion of open source intelligence. So what was her name who just said this? So Geraldine Champion would like to see Robert David Steele work with President Trump as a national security advisor. However, President Trump already named an acting NSA, National Security Advisor. That is Keith Kellogg. But as I said before, I don't know if Keith Kellogg is meant to be like a permanent replacement or just the acting person. Sometimes the word acting is used when the person is not a permanent person, when it's a person who's there until a more permanent person gets there. Like, what's her name was called the acting attorney general, the one that President Trump fired, because she wasn't the permanent attorney general. Okay, more comments. I want to get to your comments. Thank you for writing in. Pete Schweitzer says, hi, Steve, here's a link to Flynn's resignation letter. You can read it to the viewers. Oh, thank you so much, Pete Schweitzer. Let me just look at this and see. I have to make sure. I have a resignation letter. Hold on. I'm going to read this to you. Now, Pete Schweitzer, I'm just doing 2 seconds of due diligence in confirming this. Okay, good. So we have the resignation letter here. So Pete Schweitzer, thank you so much. I'm going to read to you now Michael Flynn's resignation letter. Pete Schweitzer gave me a heads up this was out there. Thank you so much. I've gotten great information from you guys. I came on as fast as I could. I didn't have a chance to check everything, so I really appreciate it. If you have a news tip, write it in, let me know. If you see a good tweet, write it in, let me know. So let me read you this message, this resignation letter from General Michael Flynn. This is a resignation letter. It's on White House stationery. It says the White House, Washington, February 13th, 2017. Here we go. It says, in the course of my duties as the incoming National Security Advisor, I held numerous phone calls with foreign counterparts, ministers, and ambassadors. These calls were to facilitate a smooth transition and begin to build the necessary relationships between the president, his advisors, and foreign leaders. Such calls are standard practice in any transition of this magnitude. Unfortunately, because of the fast pace of events, I had inadvertently briefed the vice president-elect and others with incomplete information regarding my phone calls with the Russian ambassador. I have sincerely apologized to the president and vice president, and they have accepted my apology. Throughout my over 33 years of honorable military service and my tenure as the National Security Advisor, I have always performed my duties with the utmost of integrity and honesty to those I have served, to include the President of the United States. I am tendering my resignation, honored to have served our nation and the American people in such a distinguished way. I am also extremely honored to have served President Trump, who in just 3 weeks has reoriented American foreign policy in fundamental ways to restore America's leadership position in the world. As I step away once again from serving my nation in this current capacity, I wish to thank President Trump for his personal loyalty, the friendship of those who I worked with throughout the hard-fought campaign, the challenging period of transition, and during the early days of his presidency. I know with the strong leadership of President Donald J. Trump and Vice President Mike Pence and the superb team they are assembling, this team will go down in history as one of the greatest presidencies in U.S. history. And I firmly believe that the American people will be well served as they all work together to help make America great again. Signed, Michael T. Flynn, Lieutenant General, retired, Assistant to the President, National Security Advisor. So that is Michael Flynn's resignation letter. Reading it, a couple things stood out to me. So there's this really interesting part where he says, in the first paragraph, I held numerous phone calls with foreign counterparts, ministers, and ambassadors. And he says such calls are standard practice in any transition of this magnitude. So in the course of my duties as the incoming national security advisor. So he's saying this is the first paragraph of his letter. He says, as the incoming national security advisor, I had a bunch of phone calls with counterparts, ministers, and ambassadors from foreign countries. And then he says, these are standard practice in any transition of this magnitude. So basically, the first thing he says in this letter is that it is standard practice for a national security advisor who's incoming to talk to people. So that's really interesting, because it's like the first thing he says is like, I didn't do anything that wasn't standard practice. And he never actually says, then he says, unfortunately, I incompletely briefed, I unintentionally, inadvertently, gave incomplete information regarding the phone call with the Russian ambassador to the vice president-elect and others. So he never says in this letter that it was inappropriate for him to discuss sanctions with the Russian ambassador. All he says is, it was perfectly appropriate and there's precedent for it, for him to be discussing sanctions with the Russian ambassador, for him to be talking to the Russian ambassador. That's the first thing he says in the letter, is that talking to the Russian ambassador before I'm actually national security advisor, when I'm incoming, is totally normal for an incoming national security advisor. And then he never says, I did anything wrong discussing sanctions. The one thing he says he did wrong is incompletely, and he says inadvertently, it's up to you what you think about that. He says, I unintentionally gave incomplete information about the phone call to the president, the vice president and others. That's what he said. And then he says, he doesn't really give a reason why he resigned. He says, throughout my service, I've always performed my duties with the utmost integrity and honesty. I am tendering my resignation. So it's very interesting that in this letter, he never says why. He never says he never admits that he never says he did anything wrong. And he never says why he was resigning, which is very interesting. Now, I have lots of questions about this. Is this his thought to not say that stuff, or perhaps did the administration help him craft the letter and not want him to? Maybe the Trump administration said, hey, we don't think you did anything wrong, so don't say it in your letter. Another question here is there legal stuff here? So I had heard that there's a law against citizens conducting foreign policy. So for all I know, that law and other law, maybe there are other laws out there that General Flynn is concerned, maybe I could be accused of something and be charged with breaking some law. So maybe he didn't want to admit much in his letter. Maybe his lawyers said this is the best letter to write for you. I don't know this, but I'm just throwing this out there as a possibility. So this letter, when you read the letter, you have to wonder: is it General Flynn's choice? Is it General Flynn's lawyer's choice? Is it the President Trump's choice? Is it the Trump advisor's choice about what it says? And why does it say what it says? We could sit here and talk just about the letter, but I want to get back to your comments. So that letter is fascinating. Thank you for letting me know that it was out there. So let's reset now that we've spent a little time on General Flynn's letter. We are here. I'm Steve Lookner. It's Right Side Broadcasting's breaking news coverage of the breaking news tonight. National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn has resigned tonight. He has resigned. We don't know exactly why he resigned. We're not sure. I'm guessing he was forced out. But if he was forced out, why exactly was he forced out? I'm happy. And part of what we're doing here is giving you the latest updates. Keith Kellogg, I guess, has been named the new National Security Advisor, at least the acting one. Don't know if there's going to be a more permanent one named. Part of what we're doing here is giving you the latest updates as we get them. Part of what we want to do, though, is share your comments with everyone. So if you have a comment, feel free to write in. I'm happy to read it. And to get your comment on the air, just write to me. Go to my Twitter. It's at Lookner, at Lookner, and direct message me, and I'll get your message. Or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Past viewers will be happy to know I actually have a water glass tonight, not a water bottle. So less slurping. Okay, we have some more messages here I want to get to, more comments. Okay, a lot of messages. Let me get to them. Becca, Beka, says, So Flynn was at CENTCOM when that whole deal with the socialite Muslims hosting parties in Tampa for military, including flag rank? I don't know what you're referring to. That doesn't mean it's not important. I'm honest when I don't know things. So I don't know what you're referring to, Becca. If somebody wants to talk to Becca about this, her Twitter handle is @author_Ann_Baker. So you can write her there maybe and talk about it. So thank you for the comment. Feel free to write back and say more about what that is about. More messages here. Kiefer the Deplorable says, I believe Priebus is the leaker. So this is the third commenter we've had 2 Priebus is the leakers and 3 anti-Priebus comments. So Kiefer the Deplorable says, I believe Priebus is the leaker. Trump isn't going to put up with the distractions, just like on The Apprentice. Trump is the same always. So that's interesting comment that he's somebody does something wrong, he gets rid of them. I think back to the Attorney General, was it Sally, what was her name? Sally Yates, Attorney General, I'm Googling it. Sally Yates. I got it right. Sally Yates. When he fired Sally Yates a couple weeks ago, somebody did something, he thought it was wrong, you're gone. And this is 2 people. So a couple of you out there have pointed out, like, hey, he's like a business guy. He's running it like a business. And if he doesn't like you, or you do something wrong, you're out. So thank you, Kiefer, for that message. Another message. Stephen Vitosky says, I have $100 that says that Trump won't accept his resignation letter. Watch, Trump may be up to another massive troll. Well, I believe, Stephen, he's already named Keith Kellogg as the new National Security Advisor. So I think in this case, you might be wrong, but I appreciate the prediction. Cookie Babes writes in. Cookie Babe says Trump was going to make the announcement tomorrow. Looks like a leak. Let's see. Now, Cookie Babes, I don't know if you have information about this, but Cookie Babe also sends in some information about Keith Kellogg. This is the information Cookie Babe sends in, and it says, General Kellogg is a decorated war veteran of the United States Army, having served from 1967 to 2003, including 2 tours during the Vietnam War, where he earned the Silver Star, the Bronze Star with V device, and the Air Medal with V device. He served as the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division from 1997 to 1998. Prior to his retirement, General Kellogg was director of the Command, Control, Communications, and Computers Directorate under the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Thank you, Cookie Babes. That's some information about Keith Kellogg, who was named the acting National Security Advisor tonight. More comments. Scotty P says, he initially asked me to summarize something, but then Scotty P said, you covered it again clearly, so no need, thank you. But Scotty P, you do make a good point as to hey, what exactly is this stream about? So just to repeat, tonight, for those of you who just turned in, General Michael Flynn, the National Security Advisor, resigned tonight. The resignation presumably has something to do with the fact that it came out in the last few days that General Flynn talked to the Russian ambassador before General Flynn was actually the National Security Advisor. So after the election, but before President Trump had taken office, General Flynn talked to the Russian ambassador about sanctions, and both those things are no-nos. Well, for talking to the Russian ambassador about any kind of thing like that is a no-no because there's a law against citizens conducting foreign policy, and also the problem was General Flynn then told Vice President Pence, hey, I talked to the ambassador, but I didn't talk about sanctions, and so last month, Vice President Pence went out there in public and vouched for General Flynn and said, hey, he didn't talk about sanctions to the Russian ambassador. And then a few days ago, Vice President Pence was angry to learn, or hold on one second, I have to turn this on real quick. Vice President Pence was angry to learn recently that a couple days ago that General Flynn had not told the truth to Mike Pence, and that General Flynn had actually talked to the ambassador about sanctions. So we're not sure what, I'm guessing a lot of you are presuming that General Michael Flynn was forced out, but was he forced out? What were the reasons? There could have been a lot of reasons he was forced out. Did President Trump just not want to deal with this bad publicity any longer? Did President Trump or Mike Pence, Vice President Pence, were they upset about him talking to the ambassador, period? Were they upset about not him talking to the ambassador, period, but him talking about sanctions? Were they cool with him talking to the ambassador and cool with him talking about sanctions, but upset he didn't tell them that? So lots of different possibilities for who's upset and why and how this resignation ended up happening. Let me really quick, I want to get to your comments. So Drew, this is what Drew says. Drew says, hi, I don't think it was purposely leaked. It was, he got caught violating the Logan Act, and I think the Logan Act is the act against citizens conducting foreign policy. Also, says Drew, Trump is having issues with Kellyanne Conway because of advertising Trump's daughter stuff on air, and Trump is fighting the court now over his ban. So in reality, Michael Flynn did the right thing to resign. Also, Alex Jones, not a good source to use. He is a conspiracy nut that thinks everyone in the government is bad. So Drew, a commenter wrote in before and said, hey, Alex Jones said that Reince Priebus leaked this information about Michael Flynn. And Drew is saying, hey, don't use Alex Jones as a source. He's not that trustworthy. I leave it to you to decide. And as I say once in a while here, and I try to say regularly, when we read comments on the air, we're not endorsing them. We're not endorsing them. I'm literally taking your comments and reading them and letting you hear other people's comments. We want you to hear what all of you have to say. So I'm happy to let you guys argue with each other through me as you will. So let's just take really quick. There's plenty more comments here. I wanted to see if there's any new news updates. I'm going, let's see. Going down my Twitter feed just to see if there are any new news items coming up here. I'm seeing a lot of news about General Flynn resigning, but I'm not seeing. Okay, so here's something. Let's see. This is interesting. I'll give you this. This is Philip Rucker, who's the White House bureau chief at the Washington Post. And this is Philip Rucker. According to Philip Rucker from the Washington Post, this is what Philip Rucker tweeted a little while ago. Philip Rucker says, I'm told Flynn resigned on his own. Trump did not fire him. Trump was going to give him more time before deciding, according to a senior White House official. So, Philip Rucker of the Washington Post says, this is according to Philip Rucker, I don't know if this is true, that a White House official told Philip Rucker from the Washington Post that Flynn resigned on his own, he was not fired, and that President Trump was going to take more time before deciding whether to fire him or not. I leave it to you. We're getting a lot of information now. I leave it to you to decide, is this true or not? But I wanted to pass that information on to you. I want to see if there's any other information here that is important here to get out to you. Let's see here. This is a comment from Eric Geller, who's a cybersecurity reporter at Politico. So Eric Geller of Politico says this on Twitter. A small group of current and former national security officials just leaked Mike Flynn out of a job. Does anyone think they'll stop there? So this Politico reporter, Eric Geller, he thinks that this information about General Flynn was leaked by a small group of current and former national security officials, and he thinks they won't stop there. So there's this worry, if this was a leak, are there going to be more leaks that are intended to negatively affect the Trump administration? So that's a concern. And I'm just looking for other stuff. So those are a couple of the later comments, the most recent comments I've seen on Twitter. Now I want to get back to your comments. Again, I am Steve Lookner. If you'd like to write in, we're reading, in addition to covering the news here, the breaking news that General Flynn, the National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, resigned tonight, and a replacement's already been named, Keith Kellogg, as the acting National Security Advisor. In addition to that, covering that news, we're also sharing your comments on this breaking news. If you want to write in and comment, either go to my Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, and direct message me there. You can also follow me if you'd like, and or go and email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I'm going to get back to your comments now. I've gotten some really interesting comments from you guys. So, Sensible Human says, Flynn was threatened by James Baker, who was sent by the elites, NWO, globalist, Bush's Illuminatis. They are here to destroy Trump from within, so Trump is left without a cabinet. That is from Sensible Human. Thank you for your input. Let's see, who else I want to get to. East Dallas Alice says, let's see. This says East Dallas Alice is sending us something from Keith Olbermann's Twitter, which I'm sure is negative about Trump, President Trump. According to East Dallas Alice, Keith Olbermann said, General Flynn has violated the Logan Act, must be arrested. Trump must be named an unindicted co-conspirator. Wow. Thanks for the heads up, East Dallas Alice. Oh, but actually now it says that page doesn't exist. So I wonder if this was I wonder if Keith Olbermann deleted this tweet because now it's not there anymore. But thank you for the heads up, East Dallas Alice. It would not surprise me if Keith Olbermann gave an odd tweet about a very anti-Trump, President Trump odd tweet. Let's see here. Willie Drum says, is it possible President Trump can decide to not accept Flynn's resignation and convince him to stay on? Well, President Trump already named a replacement, so that is not going to happen, Willie. Thank you for the question. Trevor Thomas, this is what Trevor Thomas says. Trevor Thomas says, this was a strategic move by Trump to take the impeachment offensive away from the left. So, I'm sorry. Let me read this again. Trevor Thomas says, this was a strategic move by Trump to take the impeachment offensive away from the left. I believe they were planning on using the Russia-Flynn connection to try and bog down the administration with having to defend Flynn's error. He just disarmed a potential weapon they might have been able to use against him. Very tactical move. Interesting comment, Trevor. So Trevor thinks that basically the administration got rid of Flynn because the left was going to use this against the administration in the coming weeks, and the administration didn't want to deal with it, and it was going to be too much of a pain in their butt and get in the way of their projects. So that's Trevor's comment. Thank you for the comment. We have some more comments to get to. Excellent comments tonight. Let's see. Now, okay, so Chubb wrote in, and Chubb said on Fox News, I believe, just announced Flynn resigned on his own, and that in resignation he admitted that he misinformed Pence. So in his resignation letter, he did say, I unintentionally didn't tell Mike Pence, Vice President Pence, everything about my conversation. But as to the part about Flynn resigning on his own, I just saw a report of that from a Washington Post reporter who had heard it from the White House official. But look, let me say something this about resigning on his own. It's possible he didn't resign on his own, but the story the administration puts out there is that he did resign on his own. Like, to me, unless you were there in the room, unless you were like listening to the call between General Flynn and President Trump, if that call happened, you can't be sure if he resigned on his own or not. So, a situation like this, you can't totally be sure what happened if you weren't there, and because the parties involved have reasons to want to get a certain story out there. So right now, I'm not sure if he resigned on his own, and if somebody says one thing or the other at this point, I'm still not going to be sure. You have your own view on it. My guess, just my personal opinion, is, to me, usually in these situations, the person is forced out. I find it hard to believe that President Trump said nothing about this today to General Flynn, and General Flynn was sort of sitting at home around 10 and said, you know what, I'm just going to resign. Boop, 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 boop. Hello, President Trump, I'm resigning. I mean, I don't see that happening, but I could be wrong. So let's see here. And yes, I did that thing David Spade used to do when he goes beep, beep, boop, boop, boop. So more messages from people. We have a MAGA Network. MAGA Network sent me a link to Robert David Steele. I will check that out later. Thank you, MAGA Network. So we are covering here the breaking news tonight that National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn has resigned. This is pretty big. Like, this is like a cabinet member, an important cabinet member, one of the first chosen. Was he the first one that President Trump chose? I mean, he was one of the first ones. And as one of the commenters said earlier, very loyal guy. I mean, this is somebody who was really with President Trump during the campaign. And this is a big deal that he resigned. And there's this question over why did he resign. I mean, it had something to do with the fact that he had this phone call with a Russian ambassador, at least one phone call, before President Trump took office, and they discussed sanctions, which, He's not supposed to be conducting foreign policy, as the Logan Act says, as a civilian. So that's a no-no. And then also he told Vice President Pence that he didn't discuss sanctions. And so Vice President Pence went out there last month in public and said General Flynn didn't discuss sanctions with the Russian ambassador. And then Vice President Pence was embarrassed a couple days ago when it came out that General Flynn discuss sanctions with the ambassador. And just to repeat, in case you haven't heard this, you might wonder, how do they know what General Flynn talked about with the Russian ambassador? Well, there are, in the intelligence community, they do listen in on certain calls that diplomats and prominent government figures make, and they were listening into this call, and there's a transcript of it that supposedly exists that says that shows that they talked about the sanctions. An interesting question to me is, did General Flynn know that this call was being recorded or not? Or did he just not know? Should he have known if he didn't know? If he did know, did he just think that the transcripts wouldn't be released? Did he have good reason to think that? Were the transcripts leaked by someone who had a bone to pick with either General Flynn or President Trump? If it was President Trump, as we heard somebody say earlier, somebody on Twitter said this. If somebody was doing this to harm President Trump, will there be more leaks from the intelligence community? So all these questions, a lot of questions out there about there tonight. There's a lot going on with this story. So I want to hear from you. Again, I want to hear from you. Comments. I'm going to check my email in a second. If you want to comment, go to 2 ways to comment. Send your comments or questions, and I'll read them on the air. Go to my Twitter. It's at Lookner, at Lookner, and you direct message me on Twitter, and I'll get your message right here. Also, email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv, and I can get your comment there as well. So a couple more messages. I've been forgetting to check my email, so let me check my email and just make sure. I want to get you. Oh, so I have some stuff. Well, funny. Carolee Novak wrote, Flynn resigns, can you come into office? People in room are asking for you, Sparkles. So thank you, Carolee, for letting me know. As soon as I got this information, I was actually out and I came home. It was faster to come home, and I just got online here and did it from here. So thank you for giving me the heads up. Yes, if there's breaking news, definitely always let me know, because I want to cover it. And I covered it as soon as I hear about it. So let's see here. We have an email from Flynn, from Guess Who 3. And Guess Who 3 says, is this the beginning of draining the swamp? Well, hold on a second. This is different. Let's see. This is the letter. I don't know if it's about General Flynn. It says, is this the beginning of draining the swamp? What connection does Jill Stein have with Putin? She, too, was sitting at the head table with Putin from 2015. So there is a video where General Flynn was a guest at some Russian dinner with Putin. And I guess Who 3 might be saying something like, does this have anything to do with that? Feel free to write me again, Guess Who 3. I'm not doing your message adequate justice. I'm not sure what exactly it's supposed to say, so feel free to write in again, and I will clarify what you want to say so I can get it right. Let's see. Another comment from Freedom Isn't Free. Freedom Isn't Free says, Steve, thank you for getting a water glass instead of the bottle, but you are slurping when you drink. Be classy. Love you and RSBN. Let's see if I can do this without slurping. Oh, I think I did it without slurping for the first time in my life ever. So thank you for the comment. John Stanton says, wish that Michael Schuer would be tapped for Trump's team. Flynn lied to Pence, so he should go through the gate. That's what John Stanton says. Then he signs his letter, though, MHJ, so maybe that's his actual initials. Michael Schuer, who is that, John? Who is that, MHJ? Who is Michael Schuer? Should I know this? Michael Schuer is a former CIA intelligence officer, so you can read about him on Wikipedia. So several of you have had suggestions for who the new national security advisor should be, and I don't know if President Trump is going to appoint a new one. He appointed Keith Kellogg tonight as the acting national security advisor, but I don't know if that means he's going to appoint somebody more permanent later, or if Keith Kellogg will stay on. So we'll see about that. We have another message here from Lucas Not Never Ever Dead. And Lucas writes in, I am amazingly shocked when I saw your broadcast. I have a question. How is the media going to react to this? More importantly, the public. If he's lying to the president, how do we not know anyone in his administration is lying to us? So, I guess what it sounds like you're saying, Lucas, is that, well, General Flynn lied to the president, so how do we know that anyone else in the administration isn't lying? Well, I mean, one thing you might say is like, look, he came out that he lied, but he's not working there anymore. So I don't know why exactly he was let go, but perhaps he was let go because he lied to Vice President Pence and, indirectly to President Trump. And maybe what somebody might say, hey, we should have confidence that the cabinet people aren't lying to us because we've just seen that if they were lying, they get fired. Now, I don't know if this is why they fired him. I'm just saying this is how somebody might answer your question. So, good question. Thank you, Lucas. And we have here another message. Let's see. Okay, so let's get back. There were some more messages on Twitter that you sent. And we have here some more messages. Tom the American says this. I think General Flynn is a good man who made a mistake in talking sanctions to Russia and then lying to cover it up. My personal belief is that General Flynn resigned of his own choice so that he would I think you mean not damage the reputation of the administration and be a distraction. So I have been saying, Tom, that it's my view that he was forced out. But Tom, you do raise a good point here, and you're saying, look, it's possible that General Flynn wanted to be loyal and he's a good man and he just felt that having this go on and on was going to damage the administration, and he felt loyal to the administration and he just resigned for that reason. So that is certainly something that could have happened, and I thank you for bringing in that alternative point of view about what might have happened. So thank you, Tom the American. We have another comment here from SNG4 says, SNG4, what'd you say? May be unrelated, but I remember when Flynn's son was accused of tweeting something inappropriate, can't remember what the exact content was, and he had to be practically kicked out of the team. Seems like the Flynn family has a tendency to rather stuff things up. So there was a case when Flynn's son got in some sort of trouble for tweeting something inappropriate. I can't remember exactly what it was either, SNG4. And you think that shows there's a pattern in their family of you say stuffing things up? Webster Maven says, Steve, hold your pinky out while you drink water from the glass to show some class like this. Is that classy? I'm not sure if it is, but I did it for you, Webster Maven. Another comment here. And to reiterate, this is our breaking news coverage on Right Side Broadcasting tonight. General Michael Flynn, the National Security Advisor, has resigned tonight. So already in this administration, we had the acting Attorney General was fired, and General Flynn resigned, the National Security Advisor. If you like news, I don't think you'll be short for news in this administration, and I hope the administration goes great. But whatever happens, we will bring all the news to you. So we're covering this. It just came out tonight. So we're covering it here. And we're not only covering it, we're covering the latest that happened, but also we also want to hear your comments. What do you think about this news? Anything you think about it, love to hear. Are you upset about it? Are you happy about it? Do you think it was right for him to resign? Do you think it was wrong for him to resign? Do you think this information about General Flynn was leaked by somebody, and why? Love to hear you comment on it. If you want to send in your comment and have me read it, either go to Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Lookner, @LOOKNER. You can direct message me there, and I will get your message here. And you can follow me if you want. Or you can email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. So let me get to more of your comments. Let's see. So this is a tweet from Fox News, which NY Mike 2S sent me. And this Fox News tweet says, U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Bob Harward is the leading candidate to replace Flynn as National Security Advisor, John Roberts reports from Fox. Now, this is interesting because earlier tonight, President Trump named Keith Kellogg the acting National Security Advisor to replace General Michael Flynn. But from this report from Fox News that NY Mike 2S passed along, it sounds like Keith Kellogg is just a temporary replacement, and that President Trump's going to try to go for somebody more permanent. And according to John Roberts of Fox, the leading candidate is U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Bob Harward. So thank you, NY Mike 2S, for that update. Appreciate it. Cookie Babe says, according to Mike Cernovich, this is a win for the mainstream media. And Jack Pasovich says, Flynn fell on his sword for Trump. So Cookie Babes is updating us on what those two have to say. Sensible Human says, ironic that the first person to be forced to leave the Trump administration is Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Candidate Trump has mentioned Flynn's support at nearly every rally throughout the primaries in the general election. General Flynn has also spoken at many Trump rallies and has been a backbone of a Trump campaign. I think you raised a good point, Sensible Human. I mean, General Flynn was really there campaigning hard, through the campaign. When you think of the people who were first behind Trump, President Trump, you think of Chris Christie, you think of Jeff Sessions, and you think of General Flynn. Those three pop into my head, and it's amazing to me that, wow, General Flynn is resigning. Master Matt has resigned. So, Master Maddie, thank you. Sent in the information about Keith Kellogg, too. True Cat writes in. This is True Cat's opinion. True Cat says, I think Flynn resigned because Sally Yates started raising concerns that he was compromised by Russia in a report to the White House. This was reported on Washington Post. So I did see this report. Thank you for reminding me, True Cat, that there was this report that I believe the Justice Department said, let me call this up because this is important. Report blackmail Michael Flynn, because this came out today, and this commenter, True Cat, was saying maybe this had something to do with the resignation. So this story, according to the Washington Post, it said the acting attorney general, so this was Sally Yates. So thank you, True Cat, for the story. According to the Washington Post, Sally Yates, who was Attorney General then, informed the Trump White House that she believed Michael Flynn had misled senior administration officials about the nature of his communications with the Russian ambassador to the United States, and warned that the national security advisor was potentially vulnerable to Russian blackmail. So again, if you hadn't seen it, this was a very interesting story that came out. According to the Washington Post, Acting Attorney General Sally Yates, who's the one President Trump eventually fired, she told the White House, the Trump White House, that she thought that General Flynn didn't tell the truth about his communications with the National Security Advisor, and that General Flynn talked to the National Security Advisor about some sensitive things, and that because of this, General Flynn, there was a risk of sanctions. There was a risk of blackmail. So what Sally Yates was thinking is that, I'm guessing perhaps what happened is something like this. Sally Yates might have gotten inside info that General Flynn talked about sanctions with the Russian ambassador. Sally Yates also had heard that General Flynn wasn't honest about this with the administration. And so then Sally Yates thinks to herself, now the Russians can say to General Flynn, see, look, we know you talked to our ambassador about sanctions, and if you don't do what we want, we're going to leak this information that you did talk about sanctions to the Russian ambassador, and you're going to end up getting fired because of this. So the blackmail here would be that the Russians could threaten General Flynn with leaking the info that he talked about sanctions with the Russian ambassador, and General Flynn wouldn't want that info to be leaked. So what General Flynn would do what he would do is he would do something the Russians wanted to avoid having the Russians leak this information. At least that was the theory that Sally Yates was going on. So anyways, interesting story that the Washington Post came out with this morning. Did this have anything to do with the resignation? I have no idea, but it is an interesting story. You can go and, if you search, I Googled report blackmail Michael Flynn. If you Google that, you'll get this story. So to repeat, we are here tonight. We are covering the breaking news that came out tonight that General Michael Flynn resigned, the National Security Advisor resigned tonight, and just came out, big news. And I just noticed one of my lights went out One of my light bulbs burned out. I hope I'm not too dark. Am I too dark here? I think I still have a couple lights on here, so I hope I'm okay. If I'm too dark, let me know and I can go replace that light, but I think I'm still good right here. So so as we cover this story, we're giving you here at Right Side Broadcasting the latest breaking news on General Michael Flynn's resignation. And somebody says that the lighting is good. Okay, I'll stay with you. So we're giving you the latest breaking news here. We're getting the news. I'm getting it off the internet as I hear it and off of TV as I hear it. You are actually writing in with the news you get, which I love. If you hear something that you think I should know and report, let me know that in real time. I will report it in real time. Also, what we're doing here is taking your comments. How do you feel about this situation? Are you upset General Flynn resigned? Do you think it was the right thing for him to resign or not? Do you think he was actually fired and is he saying he resigned? What did you think about his resignation letter? All of these things, would love to hear from you. If you want to write in and comment, either go to my Twitter, which is at Lookner, at Lookner, and message me there. Direct message me there. If you direct message me, I'll get it here and I can read your comment. Or I can read it on the air. Or you can email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. Let's see what else you folks have to say. I'm getting more messages in. We have some comments here. This is from Southern Patriot. Southern Patriot says, this was done to stifle the division within the government. There is a war inside the White House between the old guard and the new guard. Though Flynn committed the equivalence of a mistake, other agencies wanted to leverage this against the Trump administration and leak additional info that would damage Trump. We are at war. It just hasn't reached the boiling point. Expect the left to orchestrate a false flag event to either impeach Trump or implicate an executive order. So that is Southern Patriot's opinion. Southern Patriot thinks that there was a faction within the government that wanted Flynn out. So Southern Patriot, interesting comment. Thank you for that. Let's see what other comments we have here. I'm just going back through my Twitter to make sure I'm covering your comments. NY Mike 2S says, I'm just disappointed the subversive behavior from the other side. Don't we want a real country, a threat country? I can't make out that word. I think there's a typo, NY Mike 2S, but thank you for your comment. We have Red Pill InfoWars. This is what Red Pill InfoWars says. Soros and crew are pulling the strings. Petraeus is a shill for Bilderberg. The Clintons, Obama, and Soros, they're planning a coup. That's what Red Pill InfoWars says. We have another, let's see, I just want to check my email here and see if there's any new emails. I'm going back to that. Let's see here. We have one from John Stanton. John says, Steve, we'll never know what happened with Flynn. Odd that Flynn's son was also asked to leave. Perhaps the tree doesn't grow too far from the fruit. I think it's the fruit. Is it the fruit doesn't go too far from the tree? Anyways, John also says, I would bet you the delay in the announcement of his departure is strictly due to Trump being involved with the Japanese Prime Minister. If the departure was indicated during the visit, it would come across to the visiting prime minister he might not have Trump's attention. To me, this shows maturity and statesmanship on the part of the Trump camp. Good show, President Trump. Interesting thought from John Stanton. John Stanton says, hey, President wanted to do this before a couple days ago, but couldn't do it during the Prime Minister's visit, the Prime Minister of Japan's visit, so President Trump waited, and that shows he's a good, mature statesman. That's according to John Stanton. Thank you for your comment. So, again, to repeat, we are here with you at Right Side Broadcasting covering the breaking news tonight. This very big breaking news. National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn has resigned tonight. That's a big position. It's a really important position. It's the head of the National Security Council, which is the body which basically is supposed to be the big advisory body for the president on national security issues. And in addition to just the position being important, General Flynn was one of the original big backers of Trump. He was one of the original sort of big people to get on board with President Trump, along with Jeff Sessions and Chris Christie. So it's a big deal that he's not around anymore. There's this question as to whether he really resigned or whether he was pushed out. We're hearing different stuff. I want to take another look at my Twitter feed and just see if there's any updated information out there. Let's see here. Let me go through real quick in my Twitter feed here. Let's see. I'm just going down through. Okay, we have a statement from the House Intel Committee Chair. The House Intel Committee Chair, who is Nunes. I want you to get you the full name. House Committee Chair. It is Devin Nunes. Devin Nunes is hold on, I'm getting this for you. Devin Nunes is the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence Chairman. And this is the statement that Devin Nunes released tonight. The statement is, Michael Flynn served in the U.S. military for more than 3 decades. Washington, D.C. can be a rough town for honorable people, and Flynn, who has always been a soldier, not a politician, deserves America's gratitude and respect for dedicating so much of his life to strengthening our national security. I thank him for his many years of distinguished service. So that was the Nunes statement on Flynn's resignation, and notably it said, Washington, D.C. can be a rough town for honorable people. And I want to give a shout out to Jamie Dupree, his Twitter feed for saying that. Jamie Dupree, at Jamie Dupree, Jamie, has some really good news out there. So I follow him for some good news about politics stuff. Let's see what else is here that's breaking out here. And if you have breaking news that I haven't got to yet, definitely feel free to write into me. You can go to my Twitter at Lookner and direct message me at LOOKNER, or you can email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I am just going here and seeing if there were other news. Let's see. Daryl Issa spokesman, is that something? I'm just looking for... Oh, so Jennifer Jacobs, who covers politics for Bloomberg, she also says Bob Harward is one to watch. He's a Navy SEAL who worked for CENTCOM when Mattis was in charge. So we've had a couple of journalists tonight say that Bob Harward is a leading candidate to be the more permanent replacement as National Security Advisor. Okay, we have some messages from you. Again, we are here, we're live. We're covering the breaking news tonight. General Michael Flynn, the National Security Advisor, has resigned. So, and we came on live tonight because we like giving you an alternative to mainstream media coverage of breaking news. So we are on tonight giving you this alternative coverage. Let me say this. This is interesting that I just noticed. We have not seen a tweet from President Trump tonight. We have not, as far as I'm aware, seen a White House statement commenting on the resignation. I don't believe. So, I asked this when there's breaking news. Will President Trump comment on this? I asked this when the appeals court decision came out. I asked it before then. When was the last time I asked it? I think maybe the Attorney General being fired. But anyways, when I've asked this before, President Trump always did end up coming out with a tweet. So we'll see if President Trump tweets something about this tonight. Will he say so off the top of my head, I could see President Trump tweeting something like, General Flynn, honorable good man, everybody being unfair to him, or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, let me get to your messages. There's some more messages coming in. Pete Schweitzer says, in regards to the timing, I don't think 11:15 p.m. was intentional because on the West Coast it was 8:15 p.m. prime time when it broke. I think it will be the biggest story of the week and the media are going to go all out against not just Flynn, but the entire Trump administration. Also, I agree with what Southern Patriot tweeted when I read before. So this is this comment from Pete Schweitzer. I do agree with you, Pete, that there are some media out there who don't like President Trump, and this is like a gift to them. Well, I don't want to say, it's just, it'll give them something to write about, and they will be talking about this for many days to come. Okay, we have Grant Patillo. Grant Patillo writes, at Grant Patillo actually retweeted for me to read to you Mike Cernovich's tweet. And Mike Cernovich's tweet tonight was said part of 2018 push should be to get General Flynn to run for Congress against a cuck, rallying cry for patriots. So that was Mike Cernovich's tweet from earlier tonight. And thank you, Grant Patillo, for telling me about that. I appreciate it. So yeah, if you see good tweets or interesting stuff on Twitter, let me know about it. Ed, this is Ed, at Eddie Nelson, at EDDEE Nelson. And Ed writes, honestly, it's good. I liked Flynn, but he screwed up, then lied about it. We must be vigilant, or else we'll end up with another Clinton. Everyone needs to be held accountable. And if anything fishy is going on, then Trump will get to the bottom of it. So thank you for your comment, Ed. And a couple people of you seem to have liked that there was something going on that wasn't really right. You feel that General Flynn didn't tell the truth about what he talked about initially, and you like that President Trump got rid of him because of this wrongdoing. So, and that's not to say you didn't think you didn't think General Flynn wasn't a good guy, or you didn't think General Flynn was a good guy. You just think that he did something wrong, and when somebody does something wrong, President Trump rightly gets rid of him. So that's an opinion a couple of you have had. Interesting opinion. Thank you for writing in, and with that opinion, we have Master Maddie says, I just sent the White House statement to you. Let's see. Okay, so my point was not that the White House had not released any statement on it. My point is that the White House statement basically just says, hey, President Trump named Lieutenant General Joseph Keith Kellogg as the replacement. The White House statement doesn't comment on at all on like, hey, are we upset that General Flynn resigned? Hey, was General Flynn forced out? It just doesn't give any comment on the General Flynn situation. All it says is that General Flynn resigned and we've replaced him. So my point here was, will we hear any statement from the White House or from President Trump or from Sean Spicer or from Kellyanne Conway or from somebody else commenting on what they feel about the General Flynn resignation? That's my question. I don't know if we'll hear anything about that tonight. Will we at least get a tweet of some sort? I don't know. We will see. Let me repeat. We are here covering General Flynn's resignation as the National Security Advisor. This happened, about an hour and a half ago, and we wanted to come on and give you somewhere else you could turn for coverage. And as part of this coverage, we are reading your comments and asking your question, trying to answer your question. So if you'd like to comment or you'd like to ask a question, either go and email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv, or go to my Twitter, which is @Lookner, @LOOKNER, and direct message me on Twitter, and I will get your direct message. And feel free to follow me while you're on Twitter. So let me see if there are some more emails here. Let me go back to my right side email. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you joining us and sharing coverage with us. And it's nice to have a group of you to talk to, not only me, but to each other as you do this, as we cover this. So I'm going to my right side email. If I can find, where did I put that bookmark? I need to clear out my bookmark so I can, this is so odd. Did I accidentally delete? Oh, here it is. There we go. Right side email. We have a question here from Rocky Mike. Rocky Mike writes, can we, the public people, approve the ban law? If the majority of U.S. citizens voted for Trump, then we could sign and say we want to approve the ban law. U.S. citizens should have the last call. So this actually from Rocky Mike was about the travel ban, and Rocky Mike is giving his opinion that he thinks that the public should be able to vote on the travel ban and I guess overturn the appeals court. So thank you, Rocky Mike, for that. So I need a drink of water. That's what I need, a drink of water. I'm going to have a drink of water right now. And I just want you to know that when I got this news tonight, my gym I work out at is right near my place, my apartment. But I got this news. I was running at the gym on the treadmill, and I saw this news, and I got off the treadmill, and I didn't even shower, just so I could get on and bring you coverage of this, because I thought you would want coverage as soon as possible. Hopefully I don't smell bad, but fortunately you don't have smell-o-vision, so you can't smell me on your phone watching this or wherever you're watching this. I will shower after. Okay, so we are covering the breaking news. General Michael Flynn resigned tonight as national security advisor, and he has been replaced, at least temporarily, by Keith Kellogg. Is it Joseph Keith Kellogg? Lieutenant General Joseph Keith Kellogg. But some comments, it seems like there might be a more permanent replacement in the works, and we've been hearing some suggestions people have about that. Let me check my Twitter feed again and just see if there are any updates that have come out tonight. Let's see here. I'm looking on my Twitter feed to see if there are any more comments. What is this? Is this a Hillary Clinton tweet from recently? Is that from tonight? Oh wow, this is really interesting. Okay. I am looking at Hillary Clinton's Twitter account. And Hillary Clinton sent out a tweet where she quotes somebody else's tweet and comments on it. So, okay, this is pretty crazy. All right. Earlier tonight, this guy Philippe Reigns tweeted out, "Dear Mike Flynn and Mike Flynn Jr., what goes around comets around." So I guess Philippe Reigns was saying like, "Hey, General Flynn and General Flynn's son, this fake news was spread about the Comet Pizza child molestation ring that Hillary Clinton was supposedly involved with." And Philip Reigns said, "What goes around comets around." And he said that to Mike Flynn and Mike Flynn Jr. So I guess Philippe Reigns was saying something like, well, Mike Flynn got his just desserts tonight for helping spread the Comet Pizza story. But then Hillary Clinton on her Twitter account quoted this tweet. And then I'm looking at her Twitter feed right now, Hillary Clinton. And she quoted this tweet and then she said, "Philippe's got his own way of saying things, but he has a point about the real consequences of fake news." Wow. So basically, Hillary Clinton is agreeing with this person who said that Mike Flynn's resignation was the consequence of fake news? Go to Hillary Clinton, at Hillary Clinton. This is Hillary Clinton's Twitter. She tweeted out, this is the last tweet she sent out. It was 11 minutes ago. And she's tweeting out that General Flynn's resigning is a consequence of fake news about Comet Pizza? Huh? And I got to give a shout out. Somebody I follow gave me a heads up that this tweet came out. I think it's ridiculous. Wow, who gave me this? Who do I have to give credit to here? Somebody said this. I can't even find it. The person I want to give credit to who came out, who gave me a heads up about this, apparently has deleted this tweet from their account. But, oh no, it was Stephen Dennis. Stephen Dennis is a Bloomberg reporter who I follow, at Stephen T. Dennis. And he is the one who gave me the heads up that Hillary Clinton sent out this tweet. So again, go to Hillary Clinton's Twitter feed, at Hillary Clinton. There is one tweet from tonight, and the tweet basically quotes somebody, and by quoting the person, it says, he has a point about the real consequences of fake news. So I guess Hillary Clinton thinks that General Flynn's resigning tonight is a consequence of fake news? Huh? What? Hold on, I need to turn my air conditioning down a little bit, because I am boiling in here. Sorry about that. I need to turn the temperature down here a little bit. So that's pretty crazy. I have to confess, I am looking at Hillary Clinton's Twitter right now, and I can't believe my eyes. I feel like it must have been hacked, because Hillary Clinton just sent out a tweet 13 minutes ago that suggested that General Flynn's resigning tonight is a consequence of fake news? What does it ever even mean? So to me, this is now the second. Hillary Clinton is establishing a pattern here. When bad news for the Trump administration comes out, she immediately tweets something. And the tweet is this, she immediately tweet trolls. She sends out a tweet trolling the Trump administration. and it's usually pretty dumb. So the last time, if you didn't see this, these are Hillary Clinton's last 2 tweets of her account. I'm not kidding you. These are the last 2 tweets she sent out. One was on February 9th, 4 days ago, and this was after the appeals court ruling. Hillary Clinton tweeted out just 3-0. So because she was saying, hey, all 3 appeals court judges have voted against you, Trump administration. There was no comment on whether it was a good ruling or a bad ruling. I personally feel that there was flaws in the ruling, and also a lot of people feel that the Supreme Court, if it was appealed to the Supreme Court, would overturn it. But anyways, all she said was 3-0. That's trolling. Then, tonight, she hasn't tweeted since then, and tonight she tweets out a tweet, which you can go see if you look at her Twitter feed, that basically says General Mike Flynn was resigned because this was a consequence of fake news. I don't know what that means. So I guess Hillary Clinton's Twitter feed has now been reduced to only trolling the Trump administration when something she feels that's embarrassing for them happens. Way to go, Hillary. That's a really dignified way to conduct yourself on Twitter, is to only tweet out trolling things. Also, I gotta say, my personal opinion is that Hillary Clinton isn't even writing these trolling tweets, and they're written for her, and she just publishes them. That's my opinion. Maybe you disagree with me. So I would encourage you all to go to Hillary Clinton's Twitter right now and see this. That's pretty crazy. So thank you, Stephen Dennis, for giving me a heads up about that. I really kind of want to use the restroom right now because I haven't used it since we came on air. I wonder if I'm able to put a sign up that says "Be back in 1 minute." Hold on, let's see if I can do this. Be back in 1 minute. Okay, if I put this up, will this work? Will this work? I'm wondering. How can I do this? Oh, I think I'm going to figure this out. Because if I don't go use the restroom, I'm going to explode on camera, and that would be bad. You don't want me to explode. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm trying here. Hold on. Can I make this work? Can I make this work? It says be back in 1 minute, but I can't hold this here. I need some way to hold this. Let's try to make this work. I got it. I think I got it. I'm trying. That didn't work. All right. I'm just running to the bathroom for 1 minute. I will be right back. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Thank you for waiting. I came back. Oh, I appreciate you staying with me. I don't know if you could hear the toilet flush. I hope you couldn't, but I had to go. Sorry, had to happen. But I am back, so thank you for waiting. I did wash my hands. What are you talking about? Of course I wash my hands. Are you kidding me? Why would I not wash my hands? That's pretty, they're wet. Can you see how they're wet? Well, they're not like wet, but they're wet. Okay, we're back. We are covering the breaking news tonight. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn resigned tonight. Wow, that's pretty big news. And we have been hearing your comments. We've been looking on, getting the updates as they come forward. I'm at this point. I could go, basically, just to really catch you up, but I'm not going to go through the whole thing. There was this the reason this happened has to do with General Flynn. Before President Trump took office, he was after the election spoke to the Russian ambassador and spoke about the sanctions on Russia, and this was a no-no. It violates, I believe it's the Logan Act against conducting foreign policy as a civilian, or it might be a violation of that, could be. And then President, to make it even worse. Maybe President Trump didn't care about that, but after that. General Flynn didn't talk to Vice President Pence, and didn't tell Vice President Pence he talked about the sanctions. He said he didn't talk about the sanctions, and so Vice President Pence went out last month and defended General Flynn in public and said he didn't talk about the sanctions, and then it came out a couple days ago that he did talk about the sanctions, and so Vice President Pence was reportedly very angry about this, and so this has all led in some sort of way, we don't know exactly how it led to this, to General Flynn resigning tonight. And another whole question is, there were these transcripts out there of General Flynn's phone call. This is how this information came out, that he talked about to the Russian ambassador about these sanctions. Were these transcripts leaked? Was it somebody who didn't like General Flynn or didn't like President Trump that leaked this from within the intelligence community? We don't know this. So all of this is out there. Okay, now. And also, Hillary Clinton sent out a crazy tweet tonight trolling President Trump about this, just like she sent out a crazy tweet trying to troll him about the appeals court ruling a few days ago. If you haven't gone there, go look at Hillary Clinton and look at her last two tweets. It's just nuts. She's lost her mind. So anyways, I want to hear some of more of what we're listening to your comments tonight. Part of what we're doing here is seeing what you think about this whole situation. So if you want to write in, I'm happy to share your comments on the air with the rest of you. If you want to write in, two ways to do that. Go to Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner is my Twitter handle, and direct message me there, and I will get your message, and I will read it here. And the other way is email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. So we're here at Right Side Broadcasting, bringing you breaking news coverage. I see some people sent messages. Let me get to them. Choice News Network says, it is unfortunate General Flynn resigned. Wish he would have been more forthright in his resignation, though. He stated, I inadvertently briefed the vice president-elect and others with incomplete information. So it sounds like Choice News Network, it sounds like you think General Flynn actually it wasn't inadvertent that he didn't tell Vice President Pence about talking about the sanctions. I think you're saying, Choice News Network, that tonight, like in the letter, General Flynn should have said, like, hey, I tried to keep this a secret, but I shouldn't have tried to keep it a secret. So it sounds like you were saying he was intentionally hiding this information from Vice President Pence originally. Thank you for your comment, though, Choice News Network. Let's see, there's some more messages here. Dave Mitchell says, the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau met President Trump. Thoughts? Well, I don't know if you're relating that to this story tonight about General Flynn. I have to admit, I don't. So I watched some of the press conference today with Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, but I need to go back and read some more about what exactly they talked about to give you an intelligent answer on that. So I can't give you an intelligent answer on that right now. I do like that President Trump is he seems to be making a real effort to mate with a lot of people, a lot of foreign leaders very quickly. He just had Prime Minister Abe from Japan was here, and he's had a lot of phone calls. He's had a phone call with Putin. He's had a phone call with other leaders. So I do like that he's reaching out and trying to connect with with a lot of leaders, even at the beginning of his administration. Okay, more messages from you. Sensible Human says, establishment wanted Flynn out. Next they will go after Bannon, Sessions, and Miller. We beg President Donald Trump, please don't let this continue. The establishment, deep state shadow government, is causing all this to undermine and destroy Donald Trump's presidency. Thank you, Sensible Human. East Dallas Alice says, Keith Olbermann's tweet, the one about General Flynn has violated the Logan Act, must be arrested. Let me see if it's still there. You say it's still there. It's still there? Let's see. I'm looking. Yes, so Keith Olbermann's tweet is still there from earlier. According to Keith Olbermann, General Flynn must be arrested and Trump must be named an unindicted co-conspirator. So that is, unsurprisingly, a negative tweet from Keith Olbermann. Thank you, East Dallas Alice, for the clarification. More comments from you we have here. Master Maddie says that we should order Hillary Clinton a pizza to troll her. We have Miss Teresa just writes in. Miss Teresa says, just found out, no, he should have stayed. For unconscious psyches, once there equals always there. This is part of the Russia operation. Thank goodness Flynn wasn't named vice president. Well, time to pray. May divine work for all for good, even better than before. Thank you, Miss Teresa, for that comment. Other comments people have said tonight. Cookie Babe says the comment from Hillary Clinton's Twitter is implying a connection between Flynn and blackmail. Did Flynn or his son have something that they could be blackmailed about? Why else would both leave? Well, so the blackmail thing, as I understand it, the blackmail thing with General Flynn would just be, he talked about, the Russians knew he talked about sanctions with the Russian ambassador. But this was not public knowledge as of a few days ago. So I think the idea would be the Russians could say to General Flynn, hey, General Flynn, if you don't do something we want, we're going to reveal to the public that you talked about sanctions with the Russian ambassador. So I think that was the idea of the possible blackmail that Russians could have had on General Flynn. Let's see here. SNG4 wants to know, did I close the toilet seat before I flushed? No, I left it up. I apologize, but it's my place and I'm the only one who lives here, so my rules. Drew says, Stephen, Hillary was accused of being in a pedophile ring linked to Comet Pizza by Flynn's son that Flynn got from Alex Jones. So, all right. So Hillary, thank you. So, hold on. I want to. This is important. I like that you are giving me this part of the story. So, all right. So I guess I'm not familiar with the whole story. I haven't read this in a while, so I'm gonna talk about this without going back and reading all of the tweets again and knowing the exact details about who said what. But there is stuff out there about General Flynn's son tweeting about Pizzagate stuff, but I would have to go back to remember actually what all the tweets are. But anyways, this is what Drew is talking about. Drew says Hillary was accused of being in a pedophile ring linked to Comet Pizza by Flynn's son. That Flynn had gotten from Alex Jones. So Hillary has every right to say, gotta love karma. There is a very good chance she was falsely accused, so she has every right to be upset with the Flynns. Also, the Supreme Court wouldn't be in favor of ban because it is a ban on Muslims. Trump asked previous mayor of... Oh, now he's getting into the ban, so I want to stick with the topic at hand. So thank you. So Drew says Hillary has a right to say something like, hey, it's karma that you resigned because you tweeted out fake news about me. I guess that's what you're saying, Drew. But it seemed to me that Hillary's tweet said something like the real consequences of fake news, which implies to me that somehow fake news got resulted in Mike Flynn resigning, and I'm not sure what that means. So your point is well taken that Hillary Clinton could have a reason to be upset with the Flynns and I have to go back and look at the tweets again and stuff, but if she feels they tweeted about the Comet Pizza stuff and that was a false accusation. But my point about her tweet is that it somehow seems to imply that, to me, that General Flynn's resigning is a consequence of fake news, which I don't understand. Also, I just think this this thing she's doing, Hillary Clinton, where all her tweets now are all she does now is she tweets out trolling tweets when something she perceives as bad for the Trump administration happens. And they're like tweets that like, they're not dignified in any way. They're these really like, nah, 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 and they don't even seem like, they're like, the argument in them is kind of dubious, and you like sort of you have to read into it, and it's real, I don't know. For someone who argued that like President Trump isn't presidential and I'm presidential, to be doing this trolling Twitter feed to me is kind of ridiculous. I don't think it's a good look for her, to be quite honest. So there you have it. That's my opinion on that. But you tell me what you think about Hillary Clinton's tweets. But I do really appreciate, Drew, you clarifying that information. And Miss Teresa says, regarding Hillary Clinton's tweet, she's annoyed CNN's been called fake news for months, but now she feels vindicated, i.e. CNN reports Flynn story. It seems to be true. Thus, CNN equals true news. Also tipped us off to the operation. It's intense. So thank you, Ms. Teresa. I will say this. I like that we are covering here not just General Flynn resigning, we're covering Hillary Clinton's tweet. I think that's a big story tonight, and we're covering it. I guarantee you that nobody in the mainstream media is spending time on their broadcast covering Hillary Clinton's tweet. So that's something we bring here to the table at Right Side. We don't just cover we look and see what else is going on in Twitter and see what else is happening, and we'll bring you that action if that's happening. Okay, if you want, once again, I should keep repeating this. We are here tonight. We're covering the breaking news that General Michael Flynn, the National Security Advisor, resigned tonight, and as a temporary replacement has already been named by President Trump. And it looks like maybe he'll be trying to choose a more permanent replacement in the future. And in addition to giving you the latest news and the latest tweets from Twitter and all that stuff, but also we'd love to hear what you have to think about this. And also you are helping me cover this, because certain times like people have written in and said like, hey, there's a White House statement out, or hey, General Flynn's statement is out, and you've given me the heads up about that. So I thank you about that. So if you have a comment, or if you have a question and you want it read on the air, or if you have a little news tip about something you saw on Twitter or something, write to me. The two ways of doing that are go to Twitter. My Twitter feed is Twitter handle is @Lookner, Lookner. Follow me if you'd like. But if you'd like to send your thoughts so that I can see them here and read them on the air, go to @Lookner, Lookner, and direct message me. Direct message me on Twitter. Or you can email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I came from the gym where I was running to do this, and I'm a bit dehydrated, so need to keep drinking. Okay, I want to see what else you have to say here. Let's see. Master Maddie says Alex Jones from InfoWars didn't even want to publish about Comet Pizza, but decided to do so after lots of his audience forced him to report about it. And Willie Drum says Drew needs to get a life and not defend a sick, perverted, satanic worshipping witch that has more bloodstain on her and her husband's hands from years of covering their corruption and lies. So we have some disagreement over Hillary among the viewers, which is fine with me. I'm happy to let you talk about it. And let me just check. One thing I haven't done in a second is look at my Twitter feed to see if there's some more news about this. Hold on. So let me see if there's more news. Let's see. We have some tweets. I'm trying to find any just more news about the General Flynn stuff that I can give you. Robert Costa from the Washington Post says, intense talks tonight about who should replace Flynn. Lots of meetings and calls among people close to Trump. That's coming from Robert Costa. And so Glenn Thrush, now a lot of you might not like Glenn Thrush, but I'm telling you what he said tonight. Glenn Thrush from the New York Times said, considering what we know now, it's all the more remarkable that the president claimed to have not heard anything about Flynn's problems on Air Force One Friday. That's what Glenn Thrush says. Okay, so we are covering the breaking news. General Flynn, Michael Flynn, has resigned tonight as a national security advisor. Big story. We have been covering it since about almost an hour and 45 minutes ago since it came out. I'm not sure. We'll go for a little while longer here. It feels like, I like to say, as if you've seen me before covering breaking news, I like to say, every breaking news story has like its natural time cycle. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's in between. I feel now we're starting to get to the point where maybe we're getting towards the latter end because not much new news has come out. But I'm happy to stay on a little longer because I like giving you guys a forum to discuss this. So if you have any comments you want to get in, have me read, send me a direct message on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I should check my email. That's steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I should check my email again and see if anyone has emailed me. Let's see here. If anything new. Okay, caught up on the emails. So we'll go for a little while longer here. I just want to take a second and say again, I think, I'm going to make a prediction. I think President Trump will tweet about this. I was going to say by tomorrow morning. I think it's going to be tomorrow before. I'll say I think President Trump will tweet about this before 4 a.m. Eastern Time. That's his pattern. I think he's going to do it. I don't know what he'll say. Let me make a prediction. I think he will say something about how, like, General Flynn was unfairly run out of town. He's a great man and something like that, and be defiant. That's my thought. I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe I'm totally wrong. We'll see. I wonder what you think. Let me know. We have a couple messages here. A couple of messages. Southern Patriot says, what is a coup and what does it look like? That's Southern Patriot. NY Mike 2S says, look what's trending. Lock him up and lock her up. Those are both trending? Let's see, I'll check. I'm looking at US trends and I don't see those yet. Will it say what's trending? I don't see it. Is Mike Flynn trending? I don't see that trending. I'm looking at United States trends. Other messages people just wrote in. Here. Grant Maga says, Clinton needs to shut up. She forgot she lost already. That's what Grant Maga says. Stephen Vitosky writes in, why did Kellyanne Conway say 7 hours ago that on TV that Flynn had the confidence of President Trump? All right, now this is a very interesting point. I had forgotten about this. Thank you, Stephen Vitosky. So I remember at work today, it came out, Kellyanne Conway came out this afternoon and said on TV that Flynn had the confidence of President Trump. Now, you have to wonder here, was Kellyanne Conway, was she told to say this, or was she like just saying it herself? Was she given bad information? The point is that Stephen is making that, you'd think Kellyanne Conway is like pretty in the know, yet you'd also think that if Michael Flynn was going to resign tonight, they had some hint of that today. So why was Kellyanne Conway saying this afternoon on national TV he has the full confidence of President Trump? Does that suggest that Michael Flynn possibly resigned on his own and wasn't forced out? I personally feel like he must have been forced out, but who knows? So that is a very interesting question. So a lot of interesting questions about who knew what and when, and was he forced out or did he just resign? I don't know. So let's see here. Bill Jepson writes in. Bill writes, Steve, in my opinion, the interview that Mike Pence did stating that the sanctions were not discussed unfortunately forced this resignation. The left would have continued to force the issue all the way to impeachment hearings. This administration should completely limit interviews with the mainstream media for the next 4 years. Well, Bill, you don't want them to talk to the mainstream media? I mean, I guess you're saying like you think the mainstream media is out to get the administration. But Bill, thank you for your comment, Bill Jepson. So I have heard a number of times People today are bringing up the impeachment update. People the last couple of weeks, Maxine Waters did it, and a number of people of you are seen to bringing up this whole possibility of impeachment. Is it really possible for him to be impeached? Like, I know Maxine Waters said it, but that sounded like a crazy tweet to me. But what would they impeach President Trump over? I'm a little confused about this. So feel free to fill me in on this. What is the threat of impeachment? What might he be impeached over? Because I keep hearing this discussed, and I'm not sure what he might be impeached for. Master Maddie sent me an Alex Jones link about her statement. I'll look at that later. Let me check my Twitter feed here. Are there any new Twitter? Let's see. This is what, okay. Zeke Miller from Time tweeted out that the key players tonight were the Pence team, Priebus, and McGahn. I don't even know if he means, McGahn is the White House counsel, I believe. But is he saying that's the key players in terms of of General Flynn resigning or trying to find somebody new? I'm not sure. Let's see. So the news, I'm looking at my Twitter feed. I don't have much new news to give you. I'm kind of surprised at this point. There's been nothing from the White House or President Trump commenting on the situation. You'd think they would. And boy, there's so many questions here. Like, I mean, certainly. All right, let's take a step back. I want to say this. It was certainly not like set in stone and not like a slam dunk that General Flynn was going to resign. I remember thinking at work today, I was sitting there thinking like, well, maybe if this gets worse, he might get fired or something, but I didn't expect it so soon and so late. I mean, 11:15 p.m. Eastern, and did he just decide to? Or was it supposed to happen later and it didn't happen tonight? I mean, all these questions about like what exactly, how this came to happen tonight and why did it happen at all and why did it happen tonight? I just need to turn my heat up another degree. I turned the AC down. It's getting freezing here. Hold on, I'm coming. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm back. Okay, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on. Okay, I have a question for you. I'm going to give you a question, and I would love for you to write in and answer this question. And I know you're in the chat room, you're making comments, but everything's going. I can't really look at the chat room right now because everything's going by so fast. So I might try in a second to open the chat room, but I would prefer if you could. Well, hold on. Let me see this. Now that things have settled down a little bit, let me see if I can open the chat as well as do this. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Trying to do this. Okay, hold on, guys. All right, the chat room is open. All right, I have the chat room. So I have a question for you. My question for you that you can either direct message me on Twitter at Lookner or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv or say this in the chat room. So how did this come about tonight? Do you think Flynn resigned or whether he was actually pushed out even though he said he resigned but he was pushed out? Do you think he was pushed out or he did this on his own? Do you think like it was planned? Why 11:15 at night? Was it planned for later and he just decided to do it now? So what's your theory on the whole how the resignation came to happen tonight? Okay, so I am looking on. So what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at the chat room. This is like my little experiment and seeing if anyone responds to this question in the chat room. But see, the responses are going so fast. Can I make this bigger? How do I do this? Guys, it's so bad how small the chat window is on my computer. Pop it out, Steve. How do I pop out the chat room? How do I do this? How do I pop out the chat, JC? Norway says he was pushed out. I don't think Flynn is a quitter. If 3 dots top right. 3 dots top right. I got it. I'm getting closer. Pop out chat. Woo! Oh, this makes life so much easier. Thank you so much. And now I don't have to look at that. Hold on. Okay. I have the chat room popped up. Well, guys, it's a new era in breaking news coverage here, as I have learned. The breaking news right now is I have learned how to pop out the chat room. Okay, so all right, so I'm going to ask this again. I didn't look at your answers before. What do you think happened tonight? Okay, Hotwired says Flynn resigned. No speculations, please. Well, part of what we do here is speculate. We're saying we're speculating. We're not reporting the news, so I'm going to keep speculating, or listening to you speculating. Let's see. I'm looking to see what you said. I'm good with the chat speed now because I know how to pop the window out, so I made it bigger. Antonio Rodriguez says he resigned because he was guilty. Let's see here. FBI cleared. I'm just looking. So I'm hearing slow. Somebody says slow mode if I want to go slower. And in slow mode is where? Where is slow mode? I keep hearing about this slow mode that is supposedly in the chat, and I see nothing about it. Someone tell me. Where is slow mode in the chat? Grant Patillo says Flynn fell on his sword. He's too honorable. Okay. See, people tell me go to slow mode in the chat. Oh, I think that's a mod thing, Steve. But I think I'm wrenched. Anyways, all right. So I see the chat room here. Hold on, I got that. I want to just see while the chat room is open. I can't ignore the people messaging me on Twitter. So let me go there for a second and see what people say. Okay, some Twitter messages. Grant Maga says Flynn fell on a sword. He's too honorable. Trumpet shared a tweet with us. Yes, Trumpet Marine 2017. She shared the tweet that the president named Lieutenant General Joseph Keith Kellogg Jr. as the acting national security advisor. Thank you, Trumpet Marine 2017. I had already read that before, but it's good to be reminded that happened, so I appreciate it. More messages here. Mike at Life Force One says, shadow government, the invisible hand. That's what Mike says. So, we are still here. We're still covering this breaking news that General Mike Flynn resigned. General Mike Flynn resigned as, Michael Flynn resigned as the National Security Advisor. Big news tonight. Let's see here if there are any other... we have a comment from Laurel Catherine. Laurel Catherine says, have to wonder if pedophilia won't be next on their docket. Disgusting people. Are you talking about, like, the Democrats, Laurel Catherine? I'm not sure who that was addressed to. Red Pill Infowars says, let's tweet at Real Donald Trump and ask him not to replace General Flynn with Petraeus. Who knows if it even matters at this point. Marie at Cali Trump Troops says, do you think General Flynn resigned due to a possible globalist coup against Trump? I'm guessing he resigned either... My thought on this, and this is my thought, is that I'm thinking the administration made him resign either because they thought it was going to get in the way of the administration or they were upset about him not telling the truth to them or something. It's certainly possible that Flynn just resigned on his own. I don't personally think a possible globalist coup was part of the resignation reason, but Marie, that's your opinion and you are perfectly allowed to say that, and so I'm putting that out there as your comment. I really appreciate the comment. And I see, let's see, so now I couldn't see some of your, now I want to just see, we're still going here. We're still going. There's not much new news coming out, but there's people commenting, so I want to keep going here. But what I would like to give you an opportunity to do is this. Hold on. I'm just seeing here. Michael Betchloss, who's a presidential historian, tweeted out tonight, George Washington fired his second Secretary of State, Edmund Randolph, suspecting he was too close to adversary France. So just a little piece of history from Michael Betchloss. Okay, so I want to give you a chance on the chat room. Are there any questions people want to ask in the chat room? I'm going back to the chat room and just seeing what's up there, because now that I know how to pop out the chat and see, sometimes people get annoyed when I read if you make a comment and I read it, because they're like, well, we can see it, so why are you reading it? But I do want to see if there are any questions out there. We're going to end pretty soon. We're definitely going to go 2 hours, though. Why not? Yeah, so Chrissy says, did I hear that Reince Priebus might be the White House leaker? So some people were saying Alex Jones reported that tonight, but some other people were saying, like, there's no other... I've heard no other information besides the report that Alex Jones reported it, so I leave it at that. Let's see. JC says it's not a problem if I read the comments out loud. So let me just look at the comments for a second and see. I know a lot of you are in the comment room writing, and I want to see what you're saying. Oh, and I should say, again, thank you to the moderators. Doing a great job in the chat room. Again, really appreciate it. Very cool, I think, that we just have this chat room. You know, if big news like this happens, you have this place you can go and chat about it with other people and know that thanks to the moderators, it's not going to get like trolled to the point where you can't comment. So appreciate the chat room, and such a cool thing to have this opportunity to chat with others. And that's, you know, the reason we come on and I come on doing the breaking news is I want to give you guys a chance, give you a place where you can watch the latest coverage and hear about it, and at the same time chat with other folks. So we do this for you. Okay, let's see here. I'm just looking at your... Ken Jackson doesn't like my tie and shirt. Well, I'm sorry, Ken. I tried. Looking at... So this is the... We're going to... I think soon it's going to be over, this thing, but I'm sort of going... Sometimes at the end of the breaking news coverage, we go back and I look in the chat room and see what people are saying and take things a little more slowly. And I'm also... So right now, and just so you know, I'm looking at my Twitter feed, and I'm not really seeing new news. I would never end a stream like this in breaking news coverage if there was actually new news coming out. I am guessing, since on the East Coast it's now... Wow, is it that late? Wait, what time is it here? Is it really that late? Where's my watch? Man, I didn't realize. It is 12:30 Central Time, 1:30 a.m. Eastern. I wasn't even thinking it was that late. So it's getting pretty late. So I'm guessing at this point, like, a lot of news will come out about this tomorrow. And let me say this: if there is news tomorrow about this, I will come on live and do news about this tomorrow. So I will definitely do that in the studio. Hopefully, I'll be at the office so I can do it tomorrow. So all right. So in a couple minutes, I gotta end this because I gotta get some sleep so I can get up tomorrow to come in and do some more news about this, because I'm sure there'll be stuff to cover. But I just want to really quickly give people a last chance. If you have any comments, just put them in the chat room. I'm just looking at the chat room. I want to thank you for watching. So I want to give a shout out to some of the people who've been watching. None Words to Say, Rocky Mike, James Jones, Arnold Matrix, Norway, Barbara Engel, One Voter, GM, NY Mike, Sparkles, Dono Burrow, Heart of Dixie, Light Switch, Hotwired. Thank you all so much for watching. Mumsy. My God, it's full of stars. JC, moderating. Denver Durango. Jacqueline. Oh, American Vixen. Goodbye, Google. Robert McClear. Econogate. Joel Anderson. So cool that so many of you are in the chat room right now. I appreciate you all watching. Erica P. Mindy Patriot Angel. One White Kong. Jacqueline Oath. Jason Thornton. Thank you so much for being with us. Katie Kate. Thank you so much for participating in the conversation. Roger Vega's here. Nets fans here. USA Man's here. Rocky Mike is here. Prelude Linux is here. Paul Venedam is here. Mauricio Strata is here. Alice Cersei is here. TC Caldwell is here. Webster SoCal's here. Thank you all so much for watching and participating in the chat. It's been really fun. I'm sad to see General Michael Flynn have to resign, but we'll hear more about this later. Tomorrow, D-Bird says good night. Rooster Lionheart here. Sparcious is here. Who else we got? Donna Smith. Joel Anderson. Yeah, so it has been fun tonight. Well, it's been. Look, I think it's been fun because I hate saying it's been fun. It's not fun that General Flynn resigned. But what's been fun is, given that General Flynn resigned, to be able to spend it with you and to bring you some latest news and to hear your comments and hear you and also have a place for you guys to chat with each other. So here's what. All right. So again, to finish up here, the breaking news tonight was that General Michael Flynn resigned. He has been replaced by at least temporarily with an acting national security advisor, Lieutenant Joseph Keith Kellogg, I believe his name is. We'll see if President Trump tries to choose a more permanent national security advisor. So we'll see. I am sure there will be lots more news about this coming out tomorrow, about why he resigned and was he forced out and why was it 11:15 at night. So for now, I want to get some sleep. I need to get some food. I haven't eaten in a while. And also, but I more importantly got to get some sleep so I can get up tomorrow and be ready to bring you more news as it comes out. So for now, I'm going to say good night. Thank you so much to the mods for moderating the chat. And I'm guessing some of you will chat somewhere else after this is over. So I appreciate, so have fun doing that. Don't stay up too late though, or stay up late if you want to, but just know that I promise tomorrow if there's breaking news, we will bring it to you and give you the latest. And maybe even do it from the studio. Okay. This has been real fun to be with you. Unfortunately, General Flynn resigned tonight, but we will see tomorrow what new news comes out. That's it. I'm going to go. I'm going to eat something. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to get some sleep. I can't even speak anymore. It's because it's so late, and I need sleep and food. But I'll talk to you guys probably even tomorrow at some point. Have a great night, great morning, wherever you are. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for all of the news tips you sent me and all the comments. And you help make this coverage even better by your input. So thank you. I'm saying goodbye to now. More news tomorrow, and have a great night and morning wherever you are. Goodbye.